Good evening, my friends. Brashar Tortorella here, host of the Patriot Sentinel podcast, and I have two of my best friends there tonight to discuss local and national news. We'll start ladies first. Gloria Bannister. Hi, Gloria. How you
Hello,
doing, sweetie?
everybody.
Hey, can we
I
do a
was
sound check?
drinking, a spiked rum,
A spiked
eggnog,
rum. Okay. I don't
spiked
know how
rum
you can.
eggnog.
I don't know how you can put that in your mouth. That is so nasty.
Oh,
And there's
it's so
Cam.
good.
Cam, who's not drinking tonight. Cam the forehead. How you doing?
I am doing well, my friend, and I'm excited. I'm here with you guys. And the forehead, oh man, I'm growing it even more by the day. So
Okay,
hey, so much
bring out the
forehead
measuring
fat
book
is
again. Bring out your measuring book and show us how large
oh.
that thing is. I think you need to
All
sell
right,
How thick
advertising
is it?
tonight.
Wait, how thick is it?
look at that thing, man. So
What is
much
that?
forehead that I could build a
It's
head
about
Two
the
start.
same
book
size, right?
thick.
I know. I
Well, this
I
is
got a little
look.
forehead.
The big forehead for women don't matter because you guys primp and prop and put hair gel in. We don't. See, we're losing it right here. We just comb it back, and we have to live with this. But
Well, look,
well, there you go. Sound check. How do we
okay.
sound?
I think we
There,
sound great.
we sound good. We have a lot of news today. I mean, the biggest thing, but the three things we'll be talking about tonight: P Diddy and rules for thee and not for us. The
Huh.
OU game, and how it looks like Oklahoma will be shut down on the 19th. And the biggest news of the day in Oklahoma is the Oklahoma Democrat Party failing to meet the deadline with the state elections board and filing to allow independents to participate in their primaries for 2026 and 2027. Now, I wrote a story today that's up online now, and it's a fantastic story. And you guys are going to have to, look. We have been fighting State Question 836 for about the latter part of the year. Gloria and I have been for sure. And 836, for those that don't know about it, would allow open primaries for both parties. Currently, Democrats have an open primary, which means they allow independents and anyone else to participate in their primaries. And the Republican Party has a closed primary because we don't want the far left picking our candidates for us. And so this was a strange story when it came to my box this morning. And the one story came from the OK Democrats saying that they received a letter from the state elections board, Paul Zuriak's office, stating that they failed to basically nobody filed proper paperwork to allow the independents to participate in the primary for 2026 and 2027, which prompted the OK Democrat Party to say, hey, what happened? We filed it. We sent it to you in August. We had the paper trail. So I looked at it, I investigated, I talked to both sides, and what the Democrats sent in August was a copy of their June convention minutes stating that we all agree that we're going to allow independents to participate in our primary. And they thought that was sufficient notice, and it's not sufficient notice. And anybody who's worked with the election board on a campaign or any campaign knows they are black and white. So I talked to Paul Zuriak in his office, and they said no. What they sent us was on August 4th was a notice to change our logo from a rooster. I have no idea what that meant to a donkey for the next election cycle, and they sent a copy of their minutes. And by statute, they are required to notify the state election board of their intent to allow independents into the primary. So they didn't, and they're fighting this now. They never received the letter. Paul Zuriak sent out October 30th letter to all three parties. Hey, don't forget, guys. Um, November is the time to let us know who you're going to allow into your primary. And the Democrat Party never received it. They lost it. It got lost in the mail. Went to a different address. Now, Gloria, you have been in politics for a long time. You ran for office as well. I mean, what do you think about this? Why and how could they have forgotten the one key thing that they do all the time?
They trusted the wrong person. Oversight. Somebody didn't do the right job. And now they're going to play victim. You could
Has
have
that ever
happily
happened?
walked that letter. Has mail not okay, let me say this. When you mail a letter and you put a stamp on it and it has an address and it goes to that address, but it gets returned to sender because one, that person probably doesn't live there anymore, or two, there's not a building there any longer or a house there any longer or an apartment. They could have happily walked that intent letter down to the office, is which I would have done, because then I know they got it. They received
They
it.
could have happily walked.
Whoa.
Cam, what's your thoughts on this? This is the biggest story of the day. In fact, it's going to be the biggest story for the next 2 years.
So okay, let's talk about the process, my dear friends. If you are a Democrat, hey, you could pick your Democrat candidate. If you're a Republican and you're registered just like the Democrat, you could vote in your primary too. But if you are an independent or other, I'll see you in the general election and good luck to you. So if you're ready to vote, you need to switch your party. Well, you need to pick either Democrat or Republican. This is gonna be where we truly gonna see the raw data between Republicans and Democrats, and the independents have to choose if they want to have a candidate that they want to vote for, whether it's Democrat or Republican, or I'll see you in the general election, my friends. So I'm pretty excited for this. I'm sorry. This is funny in all levels.
Oh, are you really look? Is it really a bad thing that the Democrats maybe um, thought it was a bad idea and agreed with the Republican Party that having other people other than Democrats vote in their primary was a bad deal? You think maybe, oopsie, you know, the Republican Party was right all this time. We don't want open primaries.
Hmm? Well, and this is where I will say the important thing here is we're gonna look statistically. What are the Republicans? What are the Democrats? And how the independents are going to sway. This is great information for us, and for everybody.
Hmm.
How Oklahoma truly is going to look. I'm excited for it. I'm excited.
We'll know this election cycle and next election cycle how many people actually come out to vote for the Democrat Party in the primary. Now, I'm not laughing because of that. I mean, really, it's a horrible thing for the independents, and I
Mhm.
say, this is what you get for being an independent. I can say that and be mean, but there's a reason why people leave the party to become independent.
Sure.
Unfortunately, in our system, Gloria, our system is a closed primary for the Republican Party. So,
Yeah.
it doesn't really hurt my feelings, but Charity Lynch got it right. She sent me a press release, um, and basically saying that that the Democrat Party agreed with the Republican Party on open primaries.
It's true.
and,
They just
and,
don't
and,
want to
and
admit it.
I read it, I laughed, and I used it, and you know, it is going to be an issue. But here's what I feel. So I received the third email today, all at the same time. All this happened, and it nothing. It all clicked when I got it from Amber Integrated, and it was saying independence locked out of the primary. This is why we need 836. And so now we know Amber Integrated
Mhm.
is affiliated with the Vote Yes folks, right? Now we know for sure. And after receiving that press release, then it clicked that maybe this could be a setup okay, to lock the independents out for 2 years, the ramification is that maybe the signature gatherers may be low on their numbers, or maybe they wanted a way to energize the base that would benefit from open primaries to get out there and sign that petition. I mean, it makes no sense. So when you get three pieces of documents, okay, so the two I'm concerned about are one from OK Dem and Amber Integrated working together, obviously, and Amber Integrated basically stated that this is why we need 836 because these independents are locked out for 2 years. Cam, I think this could be a setup to force the issue and get these
Mhm.
guys out to sign that petition. You think so? Yes or no?
Well, think about it. If you're gonna have a reactive reaction, the best thing you could do is take away your voice so you could start affiliating and go, hey, you know what? We need to have more people here. We need to have our process. We need to open primaries. And you know what? We're going to blame the Republicans yet again and say, how dare they do this, even though they are failing the process and not doing the right paperwork. So you could just say, hey, they're taking your voice away. So come on over, let's open this up and take away the rights, your constitutional rights, so people could vote. Coincident? No.
They use that statement, Gloria, from that retired Coast Guard. It's considered part of the military, but still saying, "Here, this is another example," and I'll post it on the website later on tonight of why we need open primaries. Okay, I'm locked out. So you've been around politics, I know, for as longer as I have, if not longer. And these are the games that they play. And do you feel and do you agree with me that this could be a setup too as well?
Absolutely. I think so. And sometimes, by virtue of being obsolete or being, that's not the word I want to use. What's the word I want to use? I don't know. I have a plethora in my brain.
Obsolete.
Obsolete. No, that's
Obsolete.
not the word I want. That's not the word I want. But anyhow, what I'm going to say is this. I do think that there is some kind of wonky junky stuff going on, wanky janky, whatever you want to say. And it wouldn't surprise me one bit if they did this on purpose so that they could spread it amongst the masses of people and the independent voters that, oh, listen, the mail got lost and we need you to say yes to 836 because we've got to be inclusive and we need to have open primaries because the independent just never has a choice in a vote. Well, yes, they do. They can vote in the general elections. They don't need to vote in anybody's primary but their own. So yes, I think this is a setup, and I think it's to win votes on 836. And while I'm saying that, I'm noticing more and more signers out in parking lots that are trying to get people's signatures, and there's stupid people signing it.
The uneducated. Well, I wouldn't say that. I mean, so they're
Okay,
targeting
maybe not
Democrats.
stupid. They're targeting
Well,
anybody and everybody that's walking with two legs.
just say what you want to say. Doodle
I
heads. They're
did.
duty heads. They're walking around with poop in their underwear and their diapers.
Well, hey, we got some senators and legislators up in Washington, D.C. that are acting, they're Republicans, but they're not fighting for Republicans. They're not fighting for the United States. They're not fighting for Oklahoma. So, yeah, I can go on that tangent today, too.
Well, when my story comes out, my commentary about 836 will hit tomorrow. And then my message to my faithful Republican viewers and our faithful Republican friends of unify or die. But the next thing we want to talk about, Cam has been wanting to talk about this for like days. And P. Diddy, I really don't give a shit about that guy at all. But Cam, I'm going to have to let you take this one. Why the why the obscene Why are you thinking about P. Diddy? What's the big deal?
Hey, so a lot of Netflix has had a global hit like no other. And people are watching it, people are excited, and I've had people reach out and go, "Hey, Cam, if this happened with P Diddy, what's the difference between the Epstein and all that stuff?" Which it's an ethics complexity of law, blah 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 blah. Sure, sure. But I will say, at the end of the day, if you know that you're being recorded, if you know that you're in a public setting, you're waiving your rights for your own privacy, unfortunately. So this is where I will say you need to be aware as a consumer, as a citizen, that if you know you're there, if you're going to have a speaking event, if you're going to conversate with people, you're waiving your rights. You're waiving your rights. And that's what happened to P. Diddy. And I'm smiling because I'm watching 50 Cent just saying, it's my turn to make sure I take your reputation and influence away, you POS. And I'll say that, my wife is the smartest one in this relationship. She told me, hey, use this as your civic lesson of the day. You do not have privacy rights in public, or if you allow someone to film you, you also forfeited the rights that you have in your constitutional uh, freedoms. So this is where I will say, my goodness, thank goodness somebody was recording him and he decided not to pay and you just waived your rights. Now we have a Netflix hit and everybody's like, "Oh, well, mm-mm. Well, let's watch that documentary and listen to people who are just bad people." So I'm excited for this. Take a watch. This is awesome. So you guys know.
I'll take a watch, but you know what? I just think that Pete Diddy's a piece of shit. I mean, just
Yeah.
look. I mean, he's a piece of shit. Whether he did it publicly or behind closed doors, what he's guilty of with women and some minors, obviously, he should go to jail as a pedophile, stamped and marked, so he gets his shit kicked out of him every day and get rolled on every morning by a bunch of Mexicans and blacks just to remind him that they don't like pedophiles in prison. And Gloria, I see you smiling. You got a thought because I'm thinking that so it's just so we don't Marjorie Taylor Greene each other tonight. And we'll come to that too. So Gloria, the P Diddy thing here, the rules for thee and not for me. Do you think he got off lightly? So the thing is that why most Americans are upset is they feel that he got off lightly because of who he was.
Yes. Yep, he did. He got off way light. And you brought up Epstein, so I'm just going to say this. Epstein built he was a trafficking network, and P. Diddy was an individual, and an individual who was very out there, very, very multi-layer. He was a multi-layer trafficker, right, of young girls and pretty girls and men even. But the thing of it is Epstein's case triggered federal scrutiny because he was probably in with the feds to begin with, and Diddy's uh, is about one man, right? It's one man, but he had enablers that allowed him to do it. But he had people that came out against him saying they knew it was wrong, but they couldn't say anything because they were risking their life, right? I think that women women are always going to come out on top now, and that at the end of the day, here's the deal. Power doesn't make a man untouchable, character does. And when women speak up, it's not to tear someone down, it's to finally stand in the light where truth belongs. And I will stand firm on that because they've always tried to silence women's voices when something bad has happened. And it's not happening anymore when women stand up and we come in troves because we've got some sick individuals out there. I mean, they are absolutely sick individuals.
Hey,
And
Rosal,
and
when you
because of
guys are
that,
watching this, go ahead.
my the Huxtables, I used to watch that show all the time. And look how disgusting that man was. It just it
Bill
hurts your
Cosby.
heart, because you look up to somebody for all your life, Bill Cosby, and look what he did. But
It's awful.
anyhow, it just
So you're right. It is awful. So the verdict recap on P Diddy. And jokes aside, he was found
Yeah.
not guilty on the major charges of racketeering and sex trafficking. He was acquitted. And then
Yep.
he was only found guilty in two lesser charges, and that included the transportation engage in prostitution. So the sentence last month was 50 months in federal prison, $500,000 fine, and 5 years supervised release. And of course, he received credit for time served. And it goes to show that they used to say that a two-tiered justice system only exists in America for white men, or white wealthy men. But if you're famous
Mm-hmm.
too, it doesn't matter who you are nowadays. If you have the
Nope.
right attorney in the right court with the right jury, we still have a two-tiered justice system. And let's compare Diddy's 4 year sentence to the treatment of everyday Americans. So after the trial and after he was sentenced, we remember the video clip of the juror telling ABC News that he got off lightly. I think 10 years, he said, would have been more appropriate. Okay. And then, now here's the one that's going to blow your mind, the pardon question. So Trump confirmed last month that Combs asked for a pardon. Okay. And, pardons are given to people who were wronged by the courts. They had a, with a judge clearly did not follow the rules of evidence, did not follow the law, and that's what pardons are for. And if he gave Kim, since you brought this up, a pardon to P. Diddy, this would undermine Trump's reputation with everybody, whites, blacks, women, husbands, brothers. This would harm his reputation if he, and I don't think he's going to pardon P. Diddy. It just, no, it's not in the cards for him to happen. What do you think?
Well, this is where when Trump was in every single trial that was dismissed, and he was sitting there, for all the harassment that he got because he wasn't filing this, he was doing this wrong. Everybody remembers when Trump was in that court, just waiting for hell to break loose, and he's just holding there, knowing that he wasn't guilty, knowing that he was untouchable because he didn't do anything wrong. Yet this guy, as we stated, he's a POS, and the Netflix special showed up, and again, because he's a celebrity, people were like, "Oh, he is my role model." That's why you don't celebrate people like that, right? That's why my face is this. This is the same face that that was my face when I was watching it.
I like that face. It reminds me of when Gloria and Mark were at the house, and he didn't believe I had a mustache that looked like a Chinese spy, and I showed him the phone picture. He actually Gloria took the picture and said, "My mustache is a fan club." Remember that, Gloria? We both have pictures that will
Uh-huh.
remain
Mark
forever
was holding his
enshrined. Go ahead.
That's true. Well, Mark was holding the phone of Rashar, and of course, Mark is live, and of course, Rashar did look like a Chinaman. I don't think he spoke Mandarin
No,
though.
no, no. I said Chinese spy. So for those that don't know the
Oh,
story, about a year and a half ago when I had a full beard, I decided to go and do a mustache. And it wasn't just, it was a long ass handlebar mustache that my barber said I had to use special wax to form it and everything here. And I had done that specifically because Nicole and I were heading to Las Vegas for a Trump event, and we were there. We got pictures with the family and everybody there, and we went back to our hotel, and they sent us a link to the photographs. And I looked at myself in a group of setting of American people, and I go, "Holy shit! I look like a Chinese spy." And so I called down to the lobby and said, "I need shaving cream and I need a razor blade." I shaved it off, and that's the true story. But the segment wrap up, Trump cannot pardon P Diddy, and before we go into the OU game, I think it's next Friday, right? Um,
Mhm.
the Oklahoma Democratic Party's mistake, was it really a mistake? Does it reveal a deeper organizational dysfunction, or is it a play on 836 to get the independent base fired up to go out and sign that petition. And we'll bring you more stories on this, and we'll bring follow ups here. And we got some good questions before we go to the last segment from Cheryl Wilbur, who agrees with us that what the Democrats probably may have done is to energize the base. Oh, there you go, Gloria, and to get
That's
the
Mark in high school.
yeah, look at that.
Okay, hang on. I'll find your Chinaman pooch. Yeah,
No,
I'm looking
don't do
for it.
that one
Go
day.
ahead.
But anyways, to finish the story, to finish my what I'm saying is that I think um, it could be a game of political chess move to get the independents all riled up and sign that petition. Who knows where they're at on the numbers? And if I was doing this and as devious as I could be, I would probably do the same thing too as well. But last segment before we sign off, Cam, again, you brought this up about OU, so tell me what you got going on. What are you thinking about?
Hey, I was gonna say I'm gonna scream boomer sooner on this because we beat LSU and now we're in the playoffs and we gotta, it's Alabama, sure, but I'm excited. If you're an OU fan, if you're a football fan, let's go, let's go. I'm excited for it. I don't know if that's if you're excited for it as much as I am, but a record of 10-2, pretty good. I hope it were 12-0, but again, no one's perfect.
Gloria, you were at the last OU game. I was there the last
Yes, I
OU game before
was.
that, and I thought that was a good game. So, are we going to go to the stadium next Friday to watch this? I mean, they're shutting down the schools. They're shutting down the county government. Norman is closed. Everyone is shut down. There's no school going on here. It is a
I think we're going to
national
have to be there like
holiday.
4 hours early. Hey, you know
It,
what? North Dakota in the wintertime, it's so cold there in the negatives, like -30, that the only thing they do is play hockey. And they take off at school just to go play hockey. So I can see why, football, when it's this big of a deal, I mean, it was a nail biter game anyhow against LSU. It was a great game.
it was a
And,
good
I
game.
appreciate Robert Keys for what he did for me. I mean, it was great.
Well, you bought a
But
ticket. It was a raffle.
it was a
He didn't
raffle, and I
give you
bought
the
a
ticket,
ticket,
so
and I
you bought
won.
a ticket.
No,
You
I know, but
did.
I know, but I got to be in a suite and with great people, and I mean, we had a great time, and I just didn't know that Kelly Hines was next door to me, and a few other people were we were all in the same suite area, but none of us knew each other were there until after Facebook shows everything. It's
Yeah,
kind of
it was a
funny.
good game. It was a good game. All right, we're down to the last closing here. We'll start with Cam this time here. Cam, what do you want to
Hey,
say?
What is
so
that?
I think I found a picture of you.
No, you didn't. No, no.
I'm looking at it. I'm like, is that Rashard? Is that Rashard?
That's
Like,
him.
look at
That's
that.
him.
Like, wow.
Oh God. Okay, that was good.
So
Hey,
my closing segment.
that cartoon character was a hero, by the way. I'm gonna let you all know that. Was a hero.
Do not give
Okay, so
Rashard a bigger head than
my
what he's
closing
got.
statement. With the Democrats, they thought they were playing chess, and I feel that we're watching this and we're removing the pieces. We're removing the rooks, the knights, the bishop, and the queen and the king. Wait, we're playing checkers. I thought they were smart, Richard. So hey, you know what? Let's have fun with this general election. We'll have fun, and our primaries. We're gonna have fun. Either way, 836, awful thing.
Yeah, it was great. Gloria, what's going on, sister?
I like what Sam said, and I want to say something. Women's suffrage was a victory, but it didn't fix the real issue. Society still didn't value women's voices, and the ballot gave us access and no power. And I think that'd be a great conversation to have for sure. And I think that we could look back through history and see what has happened with women, with Asians, with blacks, with just America in general. And Cheryl did say something about the has versus the have nots, and it I'm a laissez-faire capitalist. Okay, I believe anybody can have and anybody can have not, right? So you are who you are and you're going to make it or not. And I don't want to mistake that with uh crying about, the people that like want to cry about never having anything. Go out and get it. Go out and make it. You can do it. I got faith. Do good. You can do good. So anyhow, with that being said, I am a SNU alumni, but we got Crimson, so I'm going to vote for OU to win on Friday. And if I get to go to the game, I'm going to go to the game. I'll be there.
We should all go to the game on Friday and have a good time. Diddy's headed to prison for 4 years, which in celebrity time is about 6 months with good
Wow.
behavior and a Netflix deal. And Oklahoma Democrats were getting a deadline they've hit for almost a decade. So you know the same people who want to run healthcare, the economy, and your kids' education, it seems like they can't operate a calendar. That's like saying to your pilot, I usually remember to check the fuel. So um, I don't want to be I don't want to belittle them. It's a mistake, and I would like to say it was an honest mistake, but I feel in my guts that it is a setup, and maybe they're playing Chinese checkers. We don't know until after all the legal challenges have been filed, and we'll see what happens in 2026 and 2027. But I want to thank you, our faithful listeners. We're growing, our views are growing. I want to thank my good friends Gloria and Cam, Forehead Cam and Forehead Gloria and Forehead Rashar. We all have big
I am not
foreheads.
forehead Gloria. I never said I had a big forehead. I don't.
God bless America, the Republican Party, and the Democrats. Maybe set a phone
Wah.
reminder for 2027 next time. You think? I think this is a message to the new chair of the Democrat Party. These things we have here um, that we call iPhones or phone. Put a calendar reminder in for October 30th, 2027, to remind you guys to go ahead and make sure you file appropriately. And don't ever think until you get the actual paperwork. It's black and white. You got to do it
Got a good joke
in
for you.
November.
if Republicans and Democrats, um, if Republicans and Democrats ever worked together, we'd call it a miracle, but they'd probably still argue over who got credit for it.
That's true. That is very true. So I want to thank you guys. I want to thank our watchers and listeners here. And we had a lot of good comments tonight here, and we couldn't get to them all, but um, good nights, and we'll see you guys next week. Thank you.
Take care, y'all.
Wait, put that back up there. Hang on a second. Put it on the screen. Dude, if I see that, he's going to probably tag. Oh, gosh. That's racist. You're racist.